In this video series, I'm sharing the foundation of my training methods with you. Today we're talking about how to have a balanced, happy dog that plays well with others. Why did we pick this topic? We want a balanced, happy dog so we can take our dog anywhere and everywhere, and the dog is content in its own skin. This is very important. We want the dog to be able to look at other dogs, read them, and decide if they want to engage or walk away. Our main goal is play. We want our dog to be willing to play with anyone, but to assess the vibe of the other dog around it first. They should be able to walk away if there's negative energy. Also, a balanced dog does not need to have a leash. With a balanced dog, you can go through your whole life and have a dog that be an extension of you. Your dog will love to be with you all day and will not be a problem for you. For some dogs, this can be achieved very easy. For others, it's a challenge. If you have a dog that is naturally comfortable, hey, that's a wonderful thing. But this video is about giving you tips to help you ensure this type of relationship. As we get started here, I would like to explain a few important terms that you'll hear me use in this video that will make it easier for you to get to your objective. The first term I use is work for affection. This is a habit you want to get your dog into. We want to turn this into a game, and we want the reward to match the task. In other words, if you recall your dog, and it comes and it recalls to you, and you put it in a sit, that task is not very big. Good boy. Okay, let's say the dog's across the park, and with just sign language, the dog comes without calling its name or anything. I want you to give a more serious praise. So whatever it is, the praise matches the task. Let your dog know you're happy to give them affection as long as it's earned. Make them work for it, but make it fun. This is the easiest and fastest way to achieve having a balanced dog. We also have the term umbilical cord. What is that, you may ask? Well, this is the toxic connection between you and your dog, and it will cause confusion for your dog. This is something we need to sever, the toxic connection or that umbilical cord, in order to see your dog's true personality come out. If we break that umbilical cord, a huge weight is lifted off of your dog. The dog's life now has become simpler, and it can become more open to engage in exercise. Exercise and play are the keys to having a good dog. These are all phrases that I will use in this video. One more thing. For techniques I share in this video, I will recommend use of some equipment that I encourage you to get. Remember, this video is best viewed as a package with our proper techniques for walking on and off leash video. Because in that video, I will tell you how to apply this equipment. Make sure you check out that video if you need instruction on how to use any of the equipment I named here. The first piece of equipment, I suggest a real heavy link choke chain. And I want to use a heavy link because it's more exaggerated on the dog. Unlike it sounds, this does not actually choke the dog when it's used properly. It is a suitable correction tool, and there's not a specific brand I recommend, but one that I want. The chain should be, for a full-size dog, the chain should be about 2 or 3 inches bigger than the dog's neck. For the smaller guys, an inch and a half is okay. Another tool you would want to use is a round leash opposed to a flat leash. I suggest a horse leash, but something other than a flat leash for safety reasons, and it also gives you an advantage in training techniques. There isn't a specific brand I suggest for this either, but you may find one at the feed store opposed to the dog store. A couple of other tools is a quality training collar. You want a good quality training collar that has 3 functions on it with 3 different buttons, one for each function. Don't get one that's got a mode on it. You don't have that kind of time. Some of these corrections are millisecond, okay? But the training collar, you want tone, I use for recall. Vibrate is for critiquing play or warning before a bigger correction. And then, of course, the shock, low-level shock, is all that's necessary. And then I also suggest you get a remote spray collar, not like the bark collar where they bark and squirt. No, you have the control. So you can tell it when you want it to squirt, and you could use either unscented or citronella. Then there's another piece of equipment I really would like for you to get is a GPS tracker. Now in this GPS tracker, I want it to do 3 functions as well. I want to know where the dog's at any given moment. And I also want to know where it's been, but most important, I want to know how many steps you've taken. All of these collars are my suggestion. If you have a dog with behavioral issues, for all dogs, when you're walking towards getting your dog off leash or correcting them at the park, for helping them to learn how to play well with other dogs. And if you have a dog with behavioral issues, you may want to check out my Modifying Inappropriate Behavior video. That video will be a good companion to this one to make sure you're developing a healthy relationship with your dog. So again, these tools I will assume you know how to use because you've seen my other video. If you do not and you want to check them out, the videos proper techniques for walking on and off leash so you can get full instructions on how to apply these tools. Now that you know the terms and the tools, you need to get right into the guidelines for how to have a balanced, happy dog that plays well with others. The first guideline to understand is the dog battery. The dog battery is the amount of energy your dog has when it wakes up in the morning. Dog battery is at 100% when the dog first gets up. If your dog does not get to properly exercise that it needs, their battery will always be at 90 or 100%. So it's important to get the battery down into the 10 to 60% range. If your dog battery stays above 60%, the likelihood of your dog not listening to you or challenging you is much greater. So we call this the sweet spot between 10 and 60%. Remember, the way you interact with your dog inside the home is a direct reflection of how your dog will act when it's outside the home. You want to make sure you do things that are proactive in shaping the behavior for when they are outside. Ultimately, how we achieve this is by making sure the dog is getting proper exercise first. That's about 80% of it, folks. Exercise is key. At the end of the day, with proper exercise and communication between you and your dog, you will end up with a balanced, happy dog. This is why we walk a couple of times a day, for example, to keep them in the sweet spot. Later on in the video, we'll talk about what proper exercise is. For now, you will know when your dog is in the sweet spot because they will not be looking at you all the time. They won't be constantly looking for your attention. It becomes almost toxic connection when their job is to put eyes on you and follow you around the house. Their job should be independent of you. That's our goal. Get the dog, when you're in your house, it's there to recover. You want to break that toxic umbilical cord between you and your dog, and you can't get there unless the dog is exercised properly. Their battery is too high. When their battery is too high, they won't leave you alone. When they're in the sweet spot, they will be fine on their own. They will be independent and let you do what you need to do. Why? Because they're recovering. That's what we want. your home to be a place to recover, sleep, because you've done such a good job outside when they're walking. This is when the magic starts to happen. That brings to the second guidelines of not letting the umbilical cord connect. You want to do the best job you can and not let the umbilical cord connect with your dog. It's a toxic connection, folks. This can be very challenging, but very worthwhile to do when you are trying to achieve a balanced, happy dog. With proper interactions between you and your dog, this can be achieved much easily and quicker. Not having this codependency with your dog means your dog will be more independent. That's our goal. We're trying to build your dog's confidence so it can be more secure and comfortable in its own skin. The dog what to do and they do it, we give them praise. We don't want to create too much of a dynamic where the dog becomes up to us and we give them affection. We call that active ignoring. In the long run, once you feel you have cut the umbilical cord with your dog, you can now start to lighten up. So this is not how you need to be with your dog for the rest of the dog's life. This is temporary, folks, if you do it the right way. But doing this type of interaction at first will help you get to your good behaviors and good habits more quickly. That's what boot camp's all about. All of this brings us to our third guidelines of understanding what is your job at the park. We have two main jobs when we go to the park. The first one is to provide transportation. The other one is to provide a correction if we need to. This is the dog's time, and it's important for you to understand how necessary dog time is at the park. This is the dog's time to engage with other dogs, sniff, smell, pee, otherwise be a dog. You don't want to have owner-dog relationship present at the park. You want the dog to be independent here. Their job is to keep an eye on you, not to have you keep an eye on it. And the dog should be able to do whatever it wants and play with whoever it wants. If you walk away with your dog should be watching you. I will teach you how to do this. You are the pack. As long as your dog understands that, they can have total freedom at the park. That's our goal, is to try to achieve maximum amount of steps per time you're at the park. Your capacity for exercise is probably not a lot lower than your dog's, in most cases anyway. So for younger, energetic dogs, allowing them to have dog-and-dog interactions will mean they get the best amount of exercise that you can't give them. You're not capable. Even if your dog is older or less energetic at the park, they should be able to exercise at their own pace. It's so important. The most toxic thing at the park for the owner is to bring balls or sticks or frisbees. The reason why we don't bring these items, it takes away from the end goal of dog-on-dog interactions. You must understand this, please. You may think that going to the park, you get a lot of exercise with your ball, but in fact, you're taking away from your dog's socialization with other dogs, which is mandatory for your dog to be balanced. Dogs' relationship with each other are as important as people's relationship with each other. If your dog meets a friend and you see your dog has a great engagement and it plays well, get the dog's phone number. Meet them again. We want to keep these relationships constant. The more friends your dog has, the better off you are. If you choose to try to allow your dog to do this, it will come back tenfold to you with a much stronger connection between you and your dog. These things are all going to help you achieve your end goal of having a balanced, happy, healthy dog. One question you may have is, what happens to your dog if it behaves badly at the park? How do you know when it's worth giving a correction at the park? It could be triggered when your dog is exhibiting inappropriate play, being possessive over an object. Usually it's the ball, or a person, or it's just not interacting well with other dogs. We have tools and equipment to change the behavior when the dog is off leash. Again, the owner's role is to provide transportation and a correction when needed. Most often, we just need to make corrections until the dog understands what proper etiquette is. I don't know too many dogs out there behave perfectly from the get-go. Most dogs need a little coaching at first. So what are the corrections? Well, we have one command, 4 different corrections you might use at the park. The first one is come. Corrections, if they don't come, could include a vibrate, which is a feature of the collar, which gives them also, it's a momentary beep beep. The collar also has the ability to tone, vibrate, or shock. So vibrate is the first one we use for critiquing play, but it can also be used as a warning before a bigger correction. You can try a pattern of vibrates, because again, it's momentary. So first time I go boom boom, or boom 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 boom. As long as you hold that button, they're engaging. So if you're critiquing play, for example, you could vibrate, and then if they're not responding, hold it on there. Give them the word gentle, so the dog starts to associate an action with a verbal. And you can again use the vibrate in different ways. Gentle, vibrate, or hold it on. Gentle. But the vibration can also be a warning before a bigger correction, which could be a squirt. Vibrate, gentle, vibrate, gentle, squirt. Do it again if they're not responding. Vibrate, gentle, shock. One of those two are going to get it. So maybe your dog is walking up to another dog on leash, which is boot camp. This is something we don't allow. We try to keep our dogs away from dogs that are on leash, even at the off-leash dog park. We want to respect everybody's space. If somebody has their dog on leash, please don't allow your dog to go up to them. Maybe your dog is running off into the foxtails or chasing prey, something we also don't allow at boot camp. If your dog is focused on prey, give them a tone, which is recall, with your hand signal. Try to recall the dog, and if this dog not recalling, vibrate, squirt. Still not coming, vibrate, shock. And if it's really done this quite a few times, vibrate, shock, flip. Let them know this ain't happening. Whatever the scenario is, different levels of correction allow us to achieve what we need. So the squirt and the shock are the next levels of correction. The last level correction, if the dog really has done something to really upset you, is what we call the grand flip. But this must be shown to you by me in person, because there's safety risk involved with this one. Possibly for you and the dog. You could get bit here. These tools can be used for prey drive, for dogs playing in puddles. We don't allow that either. You can use these tools to start to get control over your dog's challenging behavior. If your dog is exhibiting a lot of inappropriate behaviors, you may want to check out my video on modifying inappropriate behavior, which is about training dogs who are more aggressive towards other dogs and humans. I will give you a lot more specific details in that video and corrections, but this video assumes that the dog is not that badly behaved. So these are all guidelines, what to do and what not to do to achieve a balanced dog. Happy dog that plays well with others. I hope today's video helps you and your dog establish healthy park behaviors so you can enjoy your time at the park. Remember, if you want to know more about videos that pair well with others, proper techniques for walking on and off leash video, so you can create a good behaviors and exercise in general. You can get these videos on my website. Folks, remember that dog that I was talking about that was in the shelter for over 2 years? I'm happy to say that's Mr. Ted, mostly black with a little bit of white, playing with Panda. Both of these guys' rap sheets are about 6 feet long. But you never know it by looking at him. Look at Theodore. Footloose, fancy free, living the life. Thanks for watching, folks. Joe from Doggy Boot Camp.
Joe from Doggy Boot Camp. I asked AI a question. Does inappropriate affection lead to inappropriate behavior? Folks, I want you to understand these are not my words. It may sound very similar, but they're not mine. This is from AI. GBT Snapchat. Well, I would really like to thank GBT Snapchat for giving us this info. Now that you have this information, now you have the ability to make choices. And we hope the choice that you make is the one that's going to be the easiest for your dog. The more you make these suggestions, black and white, the easier it is on the dog. It might be a little bit challenging for you to look at this stuff as being a positive way of engagement, but it's just a different way of communicating that is much more beneficial to everybody. And it's for a short time. This is not going to be for the lifetime of the dog. Please understand that. So we're always looking to help you get to a better place with your dog, but the main goal here is with the least amount of corrections. Please understand that, folks. Make the change. Let's get those dogs better. Let's quit creating dependent dogs. Let's make them independent. I'm Joe from Doggy Boot Camp. Thanks for watching.